Welcome back to another episode of Black and Audacious, where we talk about all the bold ideas, trending topics, and, of course, some shenanigans that's thrown in with it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is
Gotta
a
have
very
some
special
shenanigans.
episode, you guys,
It is.
because I'm here with my girls, Ekaette and Tawanda,
Yes.
but we have a special guest.
First guest.
Our first guest.
Wait a minute, I'm the very first
You're
guest.
the very first.
Angela
Yes.
Watts is in the building. Angela Watts is in the
Awesome.
building.
Awesome.
Welcome to the
This is funny.
Okay.
Fashion queen. Fashion director.
Yes.
All the
So
things.
this is really special because not only are you our first guest,
Mhm.
but you and I are friends.
Yes, we are.
And I have admired you for so long with just and I always tell everyone this, Angela is the smartest working, I used to say the hardest working, but the smartest working woman in Atlanta.
She is. Thank
And
you. Like, period.
It's just really admirable to see someone who just has a vision
Mm-hmm.
and you see it all the way through.
Thank you.
And I'm so proud of all of your accomplishments, but we're going to get into all the things.
Yes.
So I want you to really just kind of, give the audience a little bit about you. And we're going to go into some things because I just think that you're so special. And there's just so much that I want people to know about you because you're a behind the scenes girl.
You introduce me all the time.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to get her to be my publicist. She tells me no.
It's too much work, but it's just you just need to be. You're in the background doing all the great things, but I want to bring you into the forefront because everyone needs to know Angela Watts.
Period. All right, so I really got to go through the details because I know if I don't, she's going to say no. That's not enough. You need to say this. But I mean, short version, I am a longtime publicist. I have worked in the industry since 2006. Well, technically 2003. Okay. 2003, I became an entrepreneur in 2006. And I've worked in many, many different industries. Mm-hmm. So I'm very proud to say that I have been able to maintain entrepreneurship since that time. Mm-hmm. I did transition from technology, working in working for a company that you guys may be very familiar with, which is Expedia.com.
Yeah.
I helped launch that brand and from the infancy stages, and now from entertainment to hospitality to fashion to music to film and television. I mean, I can go on and on. I've been able to touch a little bit of everything in PR and experiential marketing.
And it turns to gold when you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Love it.
It does well.
The thing, I met Angela when I moved to Atlanta, and we were both on the board of this fashion organization.
Yep.
I won't bet you the name. But the one thing that drew me into Angela is that we're all about the details and not about the shits.
Yeah.
And we see, no, I'm serious. When we see things kind of unraveling, I'm just like, this is not going to work. And I see someone else across the table that's on the same page. I'm just like, that's my people. That's my people.
You are my tribe.
Yes.
To get her to warm up to me, though.
Oh,
I did.
We've all
not in a bad way. Not in a bad way.
I know I'm guarded.
Yeah.
I just say.
But she has literally become one of my best friends.
Yes.
And the spirited conversations that we continuously have, to see even your growth and the things that you've been able to accomplish and how she moved just makes me happy. And it's very inspirational to me because in my mind, I'm thinking like, what would Katie do? I'm sorry, Ekaette. What would Ekaette do? And I make my efforts to think like how she thinks because she is so amazing.
Yes.
So
amazing. She be on it.
She on it.
Well,
We love you,
Ekaette. Things that drew me to Angela, when we came together, especially in a professional capacity.
Yes.
Angela had this brilliant idea, this brainchild of Rag Trade Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And Angela was like, hey, this is something that I want to do. Will you help me with this? I'm like, say less.
But she's leaving something out.
Uh-oh.
She actually helped start Charleston Fashion Week. She did. And so she's not mentioning that because we're having these conversations and discussing that. And I was like, oh, I need her on my team. Yes. Because obviously at that time, Charleston was one of the premier shows that was on the rise.
Yeah.
Right. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, if Charleston could do it, Atlanta could do it. And
Mhm.
so I was like, can we please do this together? Can we make this happen? And she literally jumped in and said, I'm done. Let's do it. Like, she didn't question anything. She moved forward.
Yeah.
I didn't question it because of the way that you move.
Oh, okay.
I see the excellence that you put behind the work that you do. And it was a beautiful birth
Yeah.
of, Rag Trade Atlanta that launched in 2013. But Rag Trade has evolved
Yes, it has.
over time. And I want you to kind of let everyone know, talk about some of the things that Rag Trade has brought to Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. So prior to 2013, obviously I was producing smaller events that in my mind was considered like Atlanta Fashion Week. Okay. But it wasn't making a really huge impact, but it was impacting some of those retail stores, if that makes sense. So the retail stores, some of the designers, etc. But as I began to garner more, when I started thinking about it more and we were on that board and then learning her history and just, just everything, I was like, okay, no, now is the time. Because of course, if you were here before, you knew that Atlanta was all about music.
Yeah.
It was nothing about fashion. Atlanta was not thought about a city that had any type of fashion
Sense.
sense,
Yeah.
anything.
We were labels.
We
Yeah.
were
We were
labels.
labels. Givenchy, Prada,
Fendi.
Fendi,
Louis
Gucci.
So essentially, I was just like, no, I just want to do a show.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I don't think I told you, but when I went into entrepreneurship, fashion was a thing that was one of my pillars in where I wanted to work. And it was my friend Robin. And I was like, Robin, we're going to produce a show and we're going to do it, call it Fashion in the Jungle. And it's going to be at Zoo Atlanta. And it's going to be under the Ford tent. And we're going to get Ford to sponsor. Well, I gave it to our other friend who was actually working with Ford at the time. And she looked at that day, she said, no, this ain't it.
Fashion in the Jungle.
Redo it.
That's not it. I said, you know what? Okay, so I'm just going to build my skill set up. Right. And then I'll come back and revisit. And then I started working more in entertainment, music, just kind of building my relationships in that space.
Yeah.
Right. So then eventually we did our first show. We did the show under the Rag Trade moniker or umbrella. I think it was in 2014. Katie secured the venue. Okay.
Venue.
It was the W Hotels in Buckhead.
Yes.
She was like, I'm going to go up here for this meeting. I said, okay, good, go.
And I did.
She did.
I did.
I found the designers. I got Barter College involved.
Yes, she did.
We held the press conference at Barter College, which is now the gathering spot. And from there, we sold out 2 shows. We had a student show, and then we had more of a independent creative entrepreneur show.
Gotcha.
And I think it's so interesting because I think Nat Taylor was one of the designers. And then we had some designers from North Carolina or South Carolina that may have came in. I can't remember, but either way, the show was it was a huge success.
Oh, wow.
We literally did that show at $5,000.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And we made all the money from
On
the tour.
a
That's
shoestring.
money.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
On a shoestring. But the great thing about that opportunity was when Angela talks about relationships, I can't go anywhere with you without, hey, baby.
Somebody. Hey,
She
baby.
knows everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody. And I think that that's something that you should really pride yourself on. And I think people can learn from you. Angela moves in a way where people appreciate you, they respect you, and they trust you.
Yes.
Because if you don't have trust in a professional relationship, it is hard.
Yep.
And they see the work that you do is done at such a high caliber that you keep having these repeat customers. You are very well, you can call somebody, they answer the phone.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
And that to me is something that, it can't be taught.
And thank you for saying that.
It can't be taught. You can actually witness it and you can try to emulate.
Yeah.
But I think that your character speaks volumes, and that's why you have these like really great relationships with people in some really great spaces to help you move the way that you do.
It really is genuine. Like, I really, really take people for who they are.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of times try to meet them where they are.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But the relationships, and I really try to learn about the person. I'm going to randomly call people. I'll just check it in, see how you are doing.
does that.
Yeah. I don't, because I value the people that are in my life, whether we're just associates, if we're friends, if we're like family, I'm just going to make those random calls, and I really do genuinely care about people. And I think that's what definitely has helped me, with a
Yeah.
lot of my relationships. I'm always checking out. I'm the same person you're going to, the same person that you met, I'm that same person. Now,
Right.
Yes.
don't get it twisted. If I get upset and I don't like you anymore, you will know this.
Oh,
That is
yes,
very
I
vital.
I've been on the receiving end of this, and I have witnessed
But
it.
y'all came back around.
No, we came back around. But that's one of the great things about our relationship is that, Angela and I, just being in this industry, we have very, very spirited conversations.
Yes, we do.
I'll say spirit. I don't want to say they're arguments. And one of the things that I love about Angela is that, you know me, I stand on my word. It's like you cannot move me.
Word is
When I
bond.
word is bond, when I say something with conviction, and Angela's like, well, we can agree to disagree because I just
Because she does
okay.
too.
Yes.
Yeah. But I try to give her different, wait a minute,
She does.
different viewpoints.
She does.
Yes.
She
I really
does.
do. And she'll
Because
listen.
you can't like to go back and forth.
Yes.
Until
I
she
mean,
to prove. I'm like,
yes.
Chill.
she will just bar you.
I do. But that's the Virgo in me.
Yes.
Yes.
We like to stand on business.
Yes, you
Stand on
definitely stand on
business.
business.
And make sure, it's just like, because we're never wrong, we're always right, that sort of thing. But that's one of the great things about our relationship is that we can talk about trending topics
Yeah.
and the things that are happening, and we don't always see eye to eye.
Yeah.
But that's the
Yep.
beauty in our relationship. It's just like before we get off the phone, she's like, I love you, girl. I love you too. And then we're back to normal.
Yeah.
So
Should be.
Yeah.
Like that's that.
Exactly.
it's that, and that's healthy.
Yeah.
That's really, really healthy. But I want to move on to what I feel like is kind of something that you've created,
Okay.
ATLFW,
Okay.
Yes.
that is that you have actually put Atlanta on the fashion map. You can talk about New York.
Amen. Let's
You can
clap for
talk
that.
about
There's already
you can talk about New York. You can talk about London, Paris, Milan. But Atlanta is where we influence everything.
We do.
the world.
And Nikkia, you and I actually went to Atlanta, ATLFW
Yes, we
together.
did.
Yep.
Yes,
And
we
we
did.
had a
We
time.
did.
We had a good
We had
time.
a good time.
And it's just, something that you've created that Atlanta should be so, so proud of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And it's just getting better and better every single year.
Thank you.
So I want you to kind of talk about, because everything hasn't been like, unicorns and roses, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about some of the challenges that you've had with developing that and really getting it off the ground.
So one of the challenges I will tell you right off the rip is that getting people to believe that Atlanta can be that city.
Mm.
For a very long time, Atlanta can't, Atlanta's not, Atlanta, da 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 da. And I hear what you're saying, but you got to also think we got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? We got to start somewhere, and we need to continuously just be consistent and continually to build
Yes.
and celebrate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that now people are seeing it.
Yeah.
Because now you got the city of Atlanta that's embracing it. You have Fulton County that's embracing it. You have New York that is looking down and say, wow, what is happening down in the city? It's getting a lot of traction because of years of consistent hard work.
Yeah.
And just making sure that we're acknowledging the designers and really showcasing what they're doing. There's still a lot more work to do.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you think about the other top four, which is again Milan, London, Paris, and New York, they've been at it for years.
Yes, definitely.
And New York technically started in 1942 with Eleanor Lambert when she created Press Week. And then, so, they have decades
Of
advance,
experience
of
behind it.
building the industry the way that they did. And even when Fur Malice came into the fold, by that time, designers were at a level where they were internationally known. So they were able to help contribute to a centralized fashion week and to really build it up. So we're in the, I think it's been maybe 14, 15 years. We're in the process of just still trying to build up to something. Right? But it's happening.
Yep.
Funding is always going to be, well, it's not always, but it is an issue, a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think now more brands are looking to say, okay, you know what? Atlanta really does have the creativity. They have the prowess. They have everything. This market really does have it. And it's not just because of the fashion, but also the music. The music was a main driver in that.
Absolutely.
So, shout out to the pioneers for that, from Dallas Austin to Jermaine Dupri. Like, all of them had really brought Atlanta and made Atlanta what it is today. And now film and television. I remember, and I tell Katie this all the time. I remember people used to say, again, Atlanta could never, right? But they also said that Atlanta would never be the #1 music market. And they said that for a very long time.
And
Then
Andre
LaFace Records came. You got Shanti Dawes and everybody else that's over there. And they're just pushing and pushing and pushing. They put money and resources behind talent like Usher, Goody Mob,
Absolutely.
Outkast. And look where we are today.
And South got something to say,
South,
baby.
right,
Yes.
exactly. So again, it's getting to that point. A lot of our designers here are working on their own, and they're using their own resources and making their own money. But and doing it, pretty much. What is it called when you do it? When you stomp the ground, what's the marketing term? I can't think of it. Guerrilla marketing. Grassroots. They're, doing it, but they're doing it big, and they're actually sustaining a life and a career working on their own.
I actually have a question to that about the designers and like how you vet out the designers here, especially. So when we went to the fashion show a couple of years ago, I think one of the ones that stuck out to me was Honor Roll. I was just so moved by the purpose. They had apparel that was like specific to Stacey Abrams. And for me, it moved me. It motivated me to like,
To
all the
purchase.
things to purchase.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
yes.
So I just wonder, like, how do you go about the vetting process with designers that are part of ATL Fashion
That's a
Week?
good question.
So when we first started, and another thing that I love about Ekaette is that she's very specific, but that's a Virgo in her, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna be the one. Let's just give everybody a chance, and she's like, no.
These are
We
the
got
credentials.
these
Yes, we understand that.
those standards, and I agree with her. It's like, how are you presenting your brand? Right? What are the visuals? Right? How often are you in stores? Are you selling online? What are your numbers? Are you constantly, recreating a new collection? Who are your customers? Your social media, your numbers, it's a lot that goes into it. We are not, we get a lot of inquiries from a lot of designers that, I appreciate it, but you're just not ready. You got to build up. A funny story to that is Kenya with Sylvia Molly. She wanted to do our first show. She came back to me probably like 5 years later, because by that time she was in every show. And she said, "You turned me down that first show." I said, "We did?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Well, you were not ready." And she was like,
I love it.
but she said it's all good. She said, because I was going to come back and I was going to do it anyway. And I was like, and she came back and she was in the second show, the third show, the fourth show. From there, she's been able to grow. She's partnered with Lincoln when we brought on Lincoln Motor Company. She actually participated at the Oscars. I think it was a dinner with the Oscars where she provided garment to one of the hosts. Like, she's done a lot since then, and now she's doing even better, working in partnership or collaboration with Shein. Right, where I know there's a lot of qualms about Shein, but they are really creating opportunity for designers to make money.
Well, I want to go into this because I think that I don't want anyone to think that Angela just got lucky.
Yeah.
Because that's not the case.
No.
There's a lot of research. When you talked about the historians of fashion, the Fur Mouses of the world, the founder of Fashion Week starting in 1942, there's a lot of work that goes on.
Yep.
And I know that for me, I'm very fortunate to have a friend like you, because you get me, I get to actually come along to Fashion Week with you.
Yeah.
And we get to see the shows, we do, the experiences. you meet designers, all the things. And I think that that's one of the things that you bring to this entity is that you do your research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're constantly trying to like learn and better yourself every single year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You constantly watch the collections that unfold out of, all the, the fashion, weeks.
Hmm.
And I think that that's what I will want to ask you, like someone wanting to get into this industry
Mm.
and do not just fashion PR, but fashion production.
Hmm.
What advice would you give someone that wants to get into that?
Absolutely. If you want to get into the industry, one, I would recommend that you first definitely study the industry. My interns that work that work with me with my agency read PR Daily, read Ad Age,
Yep.
Ad Week every week. Because one, you want to learn the terminology,
Yeah.
you want to learn how brands are activating and what you want to learn the coolest partnerships that are happening.
Yes.
They need to do that.
Yes.
And a lot of times they think they could just, they come in and it's more than just watching me and me giving you instructions on what to do.
Yeah.
You gotta read. You know what I mean?
And it's
Read
in this industry as a whole.
That is not
Definitely
a
not
for school.
because they're not teaching this in school.
And these are real life case studies that are happening or stories or updates that are provided on these platforms that give you more information. So for me, even me, I try my best to at least read one article in the morning while I'm drinking my coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Angela, a few years ago, we went out to eat
Uh-huh.
and you were giving me some advice because I was
I
just,
did.
me and you,
Yeah.
we were in Buckhead.
Okay.
And I was always trying to search for like a better way to do things. And like, I was like, I need to get up with Angela. So we went out to lunch on my
I
lunch
remember
break at
that.
work.
Yep.
And that exactly what you just said is exactly what you told me. So it's not Angela on this podcast like saying something.
Yeah.
She like was like, when I get up in the morning, I'm reading. I think you were telling me about a time where you weren't too keen on social media. You like, I learned how to do it. I just learned how to do it.
Yeah.
Like you learned how to, and I was like, I've always remembered that. And so hearing you say it again just reiterates the fact that you're talking the talk, but you're walking it. And it's important.
I mean, listen, when I first decided that I wanted to work in publicity full time because I was ready to switch careers from technology, I literally went and I got me a 3-ring binder and I printed everything about publicity, PR, marketing, etc. And I created my own book. So, and I divided it based on subject. And literally that's how I learned with some mess ups. You got to mess up to learn. I never fear failing because guess what?
Yeah.
It teaches you and I know not to do it the next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
You're a real one.
So I want everyone to kind of like know about, ATLFW. Like, how can people find you? Like, what are you looking for right now? I know you have sponsors that you're looking for. I know that you're designers, there's models, there's so many things that you are looking for right now. How can people find you?
So you can follow us on our social media channels, which is ATLFW, and that's on Twitter, ATLFW_week on Twitter, ATLFW on Facebook and Instagram, and also on LinkedIn. And also our website, which is AtlantaFashionWeek.co. Okay.
Yeah.
.co.
Not
Yeah,
com.
not .com,
We are done with
.co.
those days.
And some of the things that we are looking for, obviously, we need additional partnerships. So any brand partners that are interested in possibly participating in the show this year, we are really scaling up the experience this year. So please hit me up so we can have a conversation and see how we can integrate you guys seamlessly into the experience. And what else? And then just follow us on social and spread the word. If you can share on Instagram, just the things that are happening and support designers, independent designers, because they're out here spending their money, doing it on their own, trying to create and contribute,
Absolutely.
to this industry that sometimes they are seen overlooked.
Well, this is a great little segue. So at the end of each episode, we always like to highlight Black businesses.
Okay.
So, Nikkia, I'm going to start with you. What business would you like to highlight?
I mean, since we're on the designer tip and fashion lifestyle, I would have to Spotlight Fee Noel.
Fee Noel.
Yes.
Angela had an
So we
event.
actually we had an event, and you actually invited us. It was probably a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to meet her. Her name is Felicia Noel.
Yeah.
She is born and raised in Grenada, and she lives in Brooklyn, but her pieces are just incredible.
Incredible.
The way that they feel
Beautiful.
on your body,
Yes.
it's like it's giving. You feel so sensual and sexy.
Yes, you do.
And it's just quality. She just
Yeah.
recently expanded in Target last year
Yeah.
to have a more affordable line. But I just love her. So
Yeah.
shout out to
If you're on vacation, you're going somewhere tropical.
Resort wear.
yes.
She is a perfect designer to look
Yes.
for. The perfect designer to look
Yes.
for. So that was a really good
She's a
one.
good
I love
one.
that. What about you, T?
On the designer tip, Samantha Black, she is an independent designer. She actually had a launch in Target as well, but she goes by Sammy B.
Okay.
She has some really great, unique, eclectic pieces. And so check her out. I think her work is great. Beyonce has worn her dresses, Issa Rae.
Yeah.
So very, very casual, but cool and eclectic. So
Awesome.
yeah.
And you actually touched on the designer that I wanted to highlight,
Okay.
which was Kenya Freeman with Sylvia Molly.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I wanted to highlight her is because you invited me to a panel discussion that she was on a couple of years ago that was hosted by a lot of brands that support plus size garments. And I heard her story. And Angela and I were sitting in the audience and we were in tears.
Yeah.
Why were we crying? Because she was telling her story, and it was just like Angela was like, and I'm over there swelling up and everything. But I love her journey because we did deny her, the first year.
Yeah.
And then she's grown so much since then. You can find her Sylvia Molly. That's after her mother and grandmother, the brand name. And this woman is just a ball of energy. You always see her smiling. She has a beautiful smile. She read her signature red lip, and her bald head is just who she is.
Yeah.
And she was on Project Runway, and she did well, and if you saw her, and you can go back and watch the episode, the season that she was on, she did Atlanta proud.
Yes, she did.
She really did.
Yes, she
Atlanta
did.
proud. So
I gotta check her out.
I love her. I think that she's a brilliant designer. There's there's a space for her. And I, congratulations to you for giving her a platform and see the growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank
For
you.
sure. Anyone that you want to shout out?
Yeah.
I do. I have two though.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I want to shout out specifically she's not a designer. She's actually in the hospitality industry, but I am so proud of this woman. Her name is Tasha Sorrell, and she is actually one of the owners of Apartment 4B, Miss Gracie's, Belle and Lily's,
Love Miss
and now Juve. That's ready to get, that's preparing to open. Their grand opening is March 17th. So I want to make sure that you guys are there.
Yeah.
When I tell you, I am so proud of this woman. She's created her own restaurant group, essentially, where now she's like growing, and to see that her journey from Apartment 4B to now these 3 additional restaurants, and now with Juve, which is the Caribbean Kitchen and Bar. I'm so excited for her. Like, phenomenal.
Amazing.
That's a huge feat.
That's a huge feat.
Yeah.
And Fabian and Mabel are doing the same thing.
Yes.
So I have to shout them out as well, because they're getting ready to make an announcement for a new restaurant that they're going to be, overseeing really soon. So I'm excited about that. But in regards to fashion, Tracy Nicole, let me tell you.
Oh yeah.
Hers, I was able to bring them. We partnered or collaborated with AT&T Dream in Black this past Tuesday, I think it was, or Wednesday, and just to see how women gravitate to her style, it's amazing. And we also produced a show with her and F&W Style at Bloomingdale's. And the women, just the way the garment flows on the body, the way she interacts with her customers, her customers follow her. She has a fan base.
Yes, she does have a following.
She is definitely one of those designers that people look for. Anytime she says she's doing something, they are there. But the garments feel great on the body, and they really flow, and they're transitional. You can wear them to work.
Yeah.
You can wear them with sneakers, and then you can wear them with heels. So and for me, the business acumen that she has, she constantly grows her business and making moves that I am so proud of. And just to see the numbers that she's doing.
Well, let's clap it up for
Yes.
Tracy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You know, this was a great episode. Thank you
And
so
I'm
much.
the first
Yeah.
one.
Thank you so
The
much
energy
for
was
joining us. You know, I really appreciate it. I'm
Thank
so
you.
proud of you.
Yes.
And to our audience, our listeners, our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on all the different social media platforms.
Yes.
But, you know, keep being Black and audacious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next time. Bye.
Bye. Oh, that was fun.
That was